All right, so welcome to the next episode, today's episode of my Leveraging Your Voice podcast. As you can see on the screen, we have yet another special guest. This one is Ronda Vaughn. Ronda, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in. Now, Ronda and I were chatting a little bit, and she's a chatty one, so you can start to chat and just chat forever and ever and ever. But so we had to finally stop and say, hey, we should actually record the episode. So that's where we're at. We're going to start the episode. And why don't we start just with you introducing yourself? Who are you? Who do you help? And what do you help them do? So let's start with the basics.
Okay, so I am a service provider business coach. I am a book yourself solid coach. I also do it on my own. But as you know, and we were talking about, originally by trade, I was a chiropractor. And in October, it will be 20 years that I have been a chiropractor and have owned my own practice.
Now, you have come from not just starting as a chiropractor all by yourself, but there's a whole family history there. What's that about?
So I'm actually a third generation chiropractor. I'm the 12th and so far last chiropractor in my family, which is a little sad. I'm the 12th and I practice in the building with my mom. We are separate practices. I was in practice for her for 2 years, but having her as your life boss and your real boss weren't a good thing for us. So we practice together and we've been doing that for 20 years that I've been there.
Well, your mom will always be famous in my mind because she was the first one who joined the Leveraging Your Voice podcast.
I didn't know she was the first.
She was the first one. And at that time, I didn't have a name. We were just chatting. It was just a podcast. So there's a lot of funny things about that. But nevertheless, now I have you on, which is great. So today, let's talk about, if you're okay, let's talk about the coaching work you do. Is that okay with you?
Of course.
All right. So service business, what's that mean? You work with service businesses.
So service-based entrepreneurs, a couple of examples of different people that I work with. I have insurance agents, I have estheticians, I have not just insurance like car and auto, but business insurance. I have a lot of a couple of financial planners. I do actually have a couple of chiropractors, but it's more people who are providing a service to a person and not necessarily a product.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, when you're working with them, there's just so many things that could happen. There's so many things that could happen. So what's like the age of the business of the person that you're looking to work with? Are they brand new or are they 50 years in business? Sort of where does it fit that's like your perfect spot?
So I do have a couple brand new, but I would say that's not my favorite spot. I prefer people who have been in business probably about 5, maybe 10 years, but they're established, they're known in their community a little bit, they have a track record underneath of them, and they're really just looking to get out and do something new. They can keep doing what they're doing and they have a decent sized business and they're okay and living comfortably, but they want more and are willing to maybe step out of their comfort zone and try something a little bit different than what they've been doing to get that extra push and grow.
Now, I want to talk about some of those types of clients, but before we do, let's talk about what you're offering to people who are watching this episode. You have a very specific opportunity for people to work with you without really any big commitment at all. So why don't you talk about that, and then we'll talk about some of the people you're working for. So as people are watching, if they say, hey, that's me, they already know up front what they could do to maybe connect with you and see if you're a match. So what is that offer?
So yes, currently my new offer that I'm working on and we've really found a need for, we all know that getting with a coach is a commitment. It's a little intimidating. It's a little bit scary. So this is a 90-minute immersive one-on-one talking with me on certain different topics that I specialize in. There's a few different topics that we can talk about and whatever works for you.
You've got your partner there.
I know.
Well, that's okay. He just wants to get on camera.
He apparently likes to be on camera.
Yes, so that's okay. All right. hey, if someone's going to do the 90-minute, maybe that partner of yours will join. They got to
Well,
have some value.
she's really cute on camera too.
All right, so that's good. All right, so 90 minutes for $300 is an opening offer that somebody can do that has no other commitment, but they're going to gain some value. Talk about the value they might gain from that one single call.
So I think really it's focusing on what they need as a business owner. You know, when you get into coaching and if you do group coaching, you hear a lot of other people's needs, but this is all about you focusing on where you're at in your business, what you're comfortable doing, and what really resonates with that single person. I think that's something that I really like about, as you and I have talked before, about the Book Yourself Solid method is there are so many different options, but making sure that we cater it to what is comfortable for you and where you're comfortable putting the energy and effort.
Okay, great. So if I'm sitting here watching, I'm thinking to myself, hey, I like this Rhonda. I might want to talk to her. Now I know how I can do that without any big commitment. So I don't have to get on a call and think she's going to try and sell me for $1 million and all this sort of stuff. I can just get on a call and you can dive into my business and we can talk about some of the needs that I have. And I can actually get some coaching in that call, right? It's just not a sales call. I'm going to get some coaching.
100%. It's going to be coaching and really seeing what steps you can change and make even on your own once we're done with the call. You're going to leave with homework more than likely. And I mean, I think in the reality is you may or may not, probably will need a little bit more, whether it's for me or somebody else, but you're going to take steps and action steps to do something new and start a new process.
So that's awesome. That's a great offer. It's a great way for someone who is new to coaching or who wants to find out if you might be a coach that they could work with to do that. So that's a great offer. But let's talk a little bit about some of the businesses that you've worked with. So give us an example of maybe a new client that you might have had. What's their experience to get started? What are some of the things that they did and how did they know it was working early on? So talk a little bit about an example like that.
So one of my clients, I would say, would be, she's a human massage therapist and an equine massage therapist. And she started coming to me and asking me little bits and pieces. One, she noticed what I was doing in my business. So that's the other thing that I think is important to know is some of the things that I'm going to teach you, if it resonates and it works for your business, is a lot of things that I've already implemented, done, executed, and executed very well. On top of that, I have now shown to duplicate that in other business owners. So when she started coming to me, she noticed a community that I was building of a target market. And she did it very well. Step by step, we'd meet together weekly, have conversations about exactly how I did it. And she duplicated what I did. And now every month has a weekly event with probably 50 women, because it's her target market, about 50 people every month that come to her events that in the best way buy from her and sell for her.
So there's someone who you helped do what you had been doing. And that sort of, was that a little bit of the beginning of your coaching career?
It actually was. That was, so a lot of the clients that I first started working with, what happened, how I got into it, is I would get all these phone calls from either startup business owners or people who had been in business, and they would say, can I take you to coffee and just pick your brain for about 30 minutes? Or can I take you to lunch and pick your brain? And honestly, Paul, I had no more lunch dates and coffee dates available because it was happening so often. And that's when it clicked that I was doing this without knowing that's what I was doing. So I always tell people that I got into business coaching on accident. If you had told me 3 or 4 years ago that this is something I would be doing, or even talking to you on a podcast about it, I would have laughed. I was a chiropractor. I went to work every day. I saw patients. I did my business. I came home. My days off were my days off. I don't have as many days off anymore because now I'm filling all my time with coaching and I absolutely love it. I'm not complaining, but I'm filling my time doing this because people were asking for my help.
That's awesome. So now think about another client who maybe is further in the journey, not where they first came to you, but they've been working with you for a while. What is their experience and maybe what are some of the results that they're having that's a little bit more mature or advanced from somebody who's just starting out?
So I would say another client like that would be an insurance agent that I work with. She's home and auto, but also does some life insurance. And she had a successful business. She was doing great prior to working with me, but in working with me has now upped her reputation, her community, and leveraged working with other business owners and really expanded her reach because of that. So her business has grown in expanding her reach through collaboration, through working with other business owners, through building a community, and just looking at things a little bit differently than being a solopreneur. We all know, I think that none of us, well, me, I guess I'm speaking for me, knowing going in as a solopreneur, how isolating and alone that could feel at times. And so you can build a business that way and it can be great, but to open up different aspects and things that you may have never even considered can also grow your business and not feel as alone.
So all those things you mentioned are different ways to measure the progress she's making. But one of those that you also mentioned was her revenues are increasing.
Yes.
And that's one of the final measures that every business owner is interested in.
That's the final line, right? Isn't that the end goal for all of us?
Well, revenue, but also we want to make sure that that revenue is making us money.
Yes.
So we want to make sure of the two of those things. More money, more work, or more revenue, more work, but no more money is not a good formula.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not always more work, hopefully, is the way we try to make that happen, right?
Yeah, that's right. All right, so that's good. So tell us a little bit now from your perspective, what do you love about coaching? Why, as someone watching, they're going to come to you and you're energetic and you seem to love what you're doing, but why is that? What is it about all of this that makes you really interested in doing it and helping people?
So I said this one time at an event, and I'm a we person. I truly am. I am not a me person. I am not somebody who loves to be on the stage alone, who wants to be the center of attention. I truly love watching other people succeed. And as your coach, your success it's not gonna make me as happy as it makes you, but it's gonna make me pretty happy, right? And that makes me know that I'm doing the right thing and continue doing more of it.
Now, talk about that thing you often say about collaborating and competing. Talk about that little item.
I don't really believe in competing. I think that's what you're talking about. I think there's enough for everybody in the world. I think there's enough. If you're looking at me as a chiropractor, I think there are more people who don't get adjusted than that do get adjusted. So the chiropractors around me aren't my competition. And I know that I am not for everybody. So if I'm not your chiropractor, I am more than happy to refer you to the person down the road. Same thing in my business coaching. I think that there are more business owners that don't get coached than do. So there's plenty of business owners for everybody. And I also know that I'm not for everybody in business coaching. The way I would handle things and have you do things may not be something you're completely comfortable with. So I'm okay knowing that there's somebody down the road or another person that you should be working with.
So that's sort of the practical application of the collaboration, not competition.
Yes. So I think in collaboration, there's two ways to look at that, because you know how I collaborate with other business owners. So I don't necessarily think that I would put if I'm looking at collaboration from my chiropractic standpoint, I don't know that I would put another chiropractor in my collaboration, because we are too overlapping, but that's not
Still wouldn't compete with them.
Still wouldn't compete with them. That's
Right.
not to say I wouldn't refer them to somebody else, but I would, in coaching, collaborate with other coaches, because there are other coaches who do things far better than I do and things that I don't like to do. So I would collaborate with another coach, and I still don't see that as competition.
Yep, excellent. Okay, now, someone comes to you, are they going to get a cookie cutter approach and you're going to tell everybody the same thing?
A version of the same thing that fits them. Does that make sense? So
yeah, tell us about that.
Okay, it's like a version of the same thing. So I will say too, 20 years of practice, I started getting coached 16, 17 years into my practice. I had gone to so many coaches, and that is honestly, Paul, what I couldn't stand was cookie cutter. Here's your script. Here's what you say to every patient. Every person that walks in the door gets the same same spiel, same script, and it just felt wrong to me because we are not all the same. And me practicing your script doesn't make sense. It's not authentic, and everybody's going to hear it in my voice and see it in my tone and see it in my body. So when a coaching client comes in and I'm working with them, we have a model that we base it off of, and we talked about this a little bit today, you and I, before this, that we need to find what works for you. I have some pretty, no, I'm not even going to say I have black and white rules, because I just went outside of my box on a person that I was talking to in one of those immersives. And I said, you are the first person I'm going to tell you, you can't do it this way. One, it won't work for your personality because you're going to overdo it and out talk any sale that you could make because you're giving them too much information. And two, it doesn't fit the model for your business to have this type of event like it does most other people. So I think it's going to be more personalized to not just your business, but also who you are as a person to make it feel right and authentic. The one thing I will say to every person I coach, if I give them an idea, I will ask them how it feels to them and if it feels authentic, because the last thing you need to be doing is getting on stage or getting on a phone call or talking to your own clients and not being who you are. People will know and feel that and run, in my opinion.
Well, this is a really important point, being principle-based instead of rules-based. Because if someone watching comes to you and it's just going to be, hey, here's your steps, and then call me and tell me how you're doing, that really isn't going to help. And so it's good to hear that's not what they're going to get if they come see you.
Right. We have to tailor it to what works for you, not just you, your personality, your business, what you're trying to sell, and even sometimes your location and where you're trying to sell it.
Now, you have your own experience in building a number of businesses. Are you supported in your coaching role in other organizations so that you get help when you need help? How's that work for you?
Oh, I have a coach. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
100% I have a coach. And she got me here. And I think too, in coaching and in all this collaborative that I do, so I have a coach that I pay and I spend 30 minutes every week with. But then because of the collaboration that I love doing, I have people like you that I meet with twice a month. And I wouldn't say you're my coach, but I would definitely say I gain knowledge just from collaborating and working with you and being in a room with you, as well as, my collaborative partners that I have in my gang of 5. And then not only that, but just the community that I've made in Social Oak, the group that I've made my target market every month. I have people there. I have so many people that are helpful and beneficial in my life that I can have as a resource.
Now, as a coach, one of the things I think you're doing now is you're going to create some sort of product that people can ultimately license or do something like that, where then they can learn at their own pace and then do that in addition to coaching with you. It's sort of like either standalone or it can be sort of a complement to the coaching with you. Just I know it's not ready, but talk a little bit about that, because that's sort of a direction you're going and it's kind of interesting.
So it's making sure that people have something that meets their needs and where they are, right? So you asked about where my ideal client is as far as a coach in a business that I like to work with. Well, what if a new business owner can't quite afford me yet, but loves the idea of some of the things that I'm doing? So I partnered with another business, 𝐶𝐞𝐳 and Book Yourself Solid as well. And we're coming together, creating a do-it-yourself version that is it's a low barrier, it's a lower price point, but it's something that maybe if somebody isn't ready to really dig in and like spend the extra money, or they're just not there financially in their business, but still gives them an option to do some of the things that we're doing and kind of indirectly work with all 3 of us, work with Book Yourself Solid, work with myself, and work with Steve. So it's a lower entry level, but there's going to be different steps. So if you get into that and that doesn't work, or say you do that and you're doing great on your own, but you get stuck at a problem, you have that 90-minute option with me. Or you have another option where you can go into the one-on-one coaching and weekly calls. And it's a lot more hand-holding. It's a lot more, like you said, I can help you get out of that, sometimes get out of your own way when you hear what I'm saying and can't quite figure out how maybe you could adapt and change for your business.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a great product for you. And for people who want to work with you, it's just another avenue to get to know a little bit more about you and see some of what you're coaching. I think if they did that, it would work for them and they would want to do more with you. That's what I think is going to happen.
That's the hope. I think that with anybody, like if you do those lower levels, I think that it kind of gets you like a taste of it. And a lot of people, some people can do it, but I think it's going to be a lot easier to have those, even if it's not monthly calls, but those one-off calls to really get you out of your own head. Or as we talked about this morning, it's really difficult to see the forest when you're in it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so we're sort of coming to the end of our episode here today. I really appreciate you joining us. What do you want to leave the audience with? What's a final thought that you might want to share with them that they can take and be considering as they think about what to do next?
Well, I think that one, the new offer that I'm offering with the 90 minutes is a great way to see where you're at and if it's something that would even work for you. But I also think just to make one small change, I think any business owner, like when you're ready to make a change, to make one small change to see where you could get to that next level. Anytime I think you shift, pivot, if you're kind of at a flat line and make another change, I think growth happens, and then contacting somebody who can help you get there even faster is always an amazing thing.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us, Rhonda. This is a good episode. And you do a lot of different things. If somebody's local, you're in Clarkston, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
If someone's local, they can just come, I think, every second and fourth Tuesday or something like that. Why don't you just tell them that as well, in case they're local, they might want to just drop in.
Okay, so Paul will be there too, so you get to see Paul. We have a local collaboration meeting, second and fourth, typically Tuesday at 8 o'clock, 21 North Main Street in downtown Clarkston. It's a group of local business owners. We do a little bit of I don't like to call it a lesson, but I feel like it's something a baseline to get us all thinking about how we want to apply it to our business. And then we all talk about together how you can implement something like that in your business. And if that's not your question of the week or your concern or obstacle, we also talk about your personal stuff in your business. So it's taking solopreneurs and giving us a network of people to help us.
It's a good meeting. People should come and visit that meeting and see if it's for them. And we do have some good conversations in there, so it's fun.
Yes.
That's a good
And
set.
you never know what you're going to get, because I can go in with a plan, but one conversation shifts. And I think that, I go in with the teaching moment in the beginning, and I still learn from all the other business owners there.
Yeah, it's a good session. So that's something people should do. All right. Thank you for watching today's episode, Leveraging Your Voice. And Rhonda, I invite people on the show so that they can share their mission, purpose, and service with the world and truly leverage their voice. Did we help you leverage your voice today?
I think so. I loved it.
Awesome.
Everybody says you're easy to talk to, Paul, and they're right.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. All right, folks, thank you for watching today. I do have one thing I want to share here. In the very near future, I'm actually doing a learning episode for Leveraging Your Voice with Rhonda. And we're going to talk about sales, marketing, and branding, and how to understand each as an individual domain of knowledge so that am I having a conversation, a sales conversation, a marketing conversation, or a branding conversation? And then sort of talk about how they interact as well. So that if you watch that show, the goal will be it'll be easier for you as a business owner to find the constraints and the flow of value going through your business, which just means you can then do better and better and better. Does that make sense? That's what we're going to talk about in that episode.
I'm really excited, especially after today when we worked a little bit more on it. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. So look for that. And as always, thank you for showing up. I am Paul Rakowitz with prvocalcoaching.com. You can go to my website, What I do is I help people speak with confidence in just 8 weeks. And so if you're a professional in the entrepreneurial world or in a corporate world, doesn't matter. If you're struggling, go to my website. You can hit the discovery call button and then you'll chat with me and we can see if we can help you. A lot of people come to me because say they're in the corporate world and they can't get to that next level, but communication, better communication will help you get there. People who are entrepreneurs come because their sales just aren't what they want them to be. And then they come to me and all of a sudden their sales go up because they can communicate better the value that they're delivering. So if you fit into any of that, go to my website, prvocalcoaching.com. We'll see you there. You can hit discovery call and I look forward to seeing you there. As well, don't miss all of our episodes. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And as always, stay safe and be well. Thank you, Rhonda.
Yeah.